Good morning students. In yesterday's session we discussed about the syllabus of automata theory and what are the course outcomes of automata theory. In this session I am going to give the introduction of automata theory. Here, what do you mean by automata theory? Just automata theory means here it is a branch of computer science and it deals with the automatic machines. Here, whenever we are going to give the input, whenever we are going to, here for example, if I am going to give the input, it should perform the various types of operations and it should produce the output, right? What type of operations that particular machine is going to perform, we are not going to set by the humans. It is not going to set by the humans. Whatever the input is here, whatever the input we are giving, that particular input is taken by that particular machine and that particular machine is going to perform various types of operations and it is going to produce the output. That is the automatic machine. Here automata theory is a branch of computer science. It is going to design, it is going to deal with the designing the abstract models. It is going to design for the abstract models. Yeah. By using this automata theory, we are going to designing the abstract models. Here these abstract models are going to work with automatically, they are going to work. Just we are going to give the input, they are going to perform various types of operations. By performing the various types of operations, it is going to produce the output. Okay. Now here, this automata theory, automata is a term is derived from Greek word, right? Automata means, what is the meaning of automata? That is the self-acting. Self-acting means just we are going to give the input and that particular machine is going to produce the output. Here, what type of operations that particular machine is going to be performed is not going to handled by the human, right? This is the automata. Here, now, in automation, whenever we are going to perform various types of operations on automata, here that particular automata is going to generate various types of states. That particular automata is going to be generate various types of states, right? Here, if the in some cases automata is going to generate finite number of states, right? Here, if any automata is going to generate finite number of states, that particular automata is known as the finite automata or finite state machine, right? If any automata is going to perform the operations, here in that particular case, various types of intermediate states are going to generate. If any automation is going to generate finite number of states, then that particular automation is known as finite state automation or finite state machine, right? You know, generally this finite state machines, we are going to deal with the finite state machines in this automata theory subject. Here, definition of finite automata. Here the finite state machine as finite automata is going to represent by this 5 tuples. Here we are going to use these 5 tuples: q, sigma, delta, q naught and f. Q, sigma, delta, q naught and f. Here, whereas q is the finite set of states. Q is the finite set of states. Whenever we are going to perform any operation, here that particular automata is going to generate various types of states. All those states comes under this q naught state. Q, all these states, right? Second one is this sigma. Sigma is a finite set of symbols. Sigma is the finite set of symbols. Here generally this sigma is known as alphabet. We can say this sigma is alphabet also. Here the sigma is the input symbols. Sigma is input symbols. Here this q is the number of states. Q is the number of states, right? Yeah. Generally, finite state automation is consisting of 5 tuples: q, sigma, delta, q naught, f and f. Q is the finite number of states. Here states means here whenever we are going to perform the operations by using these input symbols, various types of states are going to generate. Here those states are going to be present in this Q. All these states which are present in the finite automata. And sigma is the input symbol. Generally these input symbols are either the alphabets or 0 or 1 or A, B up to small letter Z. All these are the input symbols. Next one is the Q. What do you mean by Q? Is the transition function. Q is the transition function. Transition function means here whenever we are going to design any automata, that particular automata is going to perform some set of operations, right? Those set of operations are going to be carried by this transition function. Here all these transition functions are predefined. Here all these are the predefined functions. Here what type of operation that particular automata is going to perform, that thing is going to be carried out by this delta, right? Next one is the initial state. Q naught is the initial state. This is the initial state. Initial state. Initial state means here whenever we are going to start any operations, we must know where is the starting point, right? Where is the starting point? So Q naught is the initial state of that particular finite state machine. Q naught is the initial state of that particular finite state machine. For example, here in some transition diagram, Q naught is the initial state. In transition diagram, some A will be the this one initial state. In some transition diagram, X will be the initial state, right? Here, and this Q naught is going to belongs to this infinite set of states, input states. Q naught must be, this Q naught must be present in Q. Q naught must be present in Q. Why? Because here whenever we are going to start any operation, we are going to start from the input symbols. Is it right? Whenever we are going to start any operations, we have to start from the input symbol. Here input symbol is Q naught. Here in general input symbol is going to recognize by this Q naught, right? Input symbol is going to recognize by this Q naught. So this Q naught must be present in this one, finite set of states. Why? Because in finite automata we are going to perform various types of operations on sets only. Right? Next, F. F is the set of final state. One more thing, here initial state, where here generally this initial state is indicated by this arrow, right? Q naught. If Q naught is the initial state, then it is going to be indicated by this arrow mark, right? Now, final state. F is the set of final state. F is the set of final state or final states of Q. Here in some cases we are having multiple number of final states. In some cases we are having multiple number of final states. Here for example, here in my example Q naught, Q1, Q2, Q3. These three here, these four are the states which are present in this finite state machine. These are the states which are present in this finite state machine. Here these are the states, right? In these states here Q naught is the initial state, so it should be indicated by this arrow mark, right? Now here Q3 is the final state. For example, Q3 is the final state. Here Q3. That particular Q3 must be double circle. Here all these states will be in a single circle. Here if you are going to take the final state, that should be in double circle, right? Here we are having multiple number of final state. We can have multiple number of final state. In that particular case, here those states are going to be double. For example, in this case Q0, Q1, Q2, Q3 are there now. Here in this case, for example, Q1 and Q3 both are the final state. Q1 and Q3 both are the final state. In that particular case, here we have to double circle Q0 and we have to double circle Q3. So in this case, here how many final states are there? Q1 and Q3. Q1 and Q3 both are the final state. See here, what is this one? What is Q? What is this Q? This is Q now. Q is Q0, Q1, Q2, Q3 and final final states here indicated by F equals to Q1 and Q3. So it is, see here, F is always, F is subset R equals to Q. F is always subset R equals to Q, right? This is the formal definition of finite automata. Generally, finite automata is consisting of 5 tuples: Q, sigma, delta, Q naught and F. Q is the number of states which are present in the finite state machine. Sigma is a set of symbols, set of input symbol. Generally, the sigma is going to represent by alphabet. Delta is the transition function. What type of operations we are going to perform on this finite state machine is going to describe by delta. Next one is the Q naught. Q naught is the initial state where we are going to start our operations, right? Now F is the final state. Set of final state, F should be subset R equals to Q. F should be subset R equals to Q. In general, we are having single final state, or we can have multiple number of final state. This is the formal definition of finite automation. Next is, before going to that one, here we are going to use normal terminology. Here frequently used terminology is there. We have to learn that particular terminology. What do you mean by that? What do you mean by alphabet? What do you mean by string? Already you learn what you mean by alphabet, string, and what type of operations we can perform on the alphabet, and just I am going to recalling that one, right? First one is the alphabet. What do you mean by alphabet? Alphabet is any finite set of symbol. Alphabet is any finite set of symbol, right? Here generally alphabet is going to represent by sigma, right? Why? Because alphabet is the input symbol. Now alphabet is the, in the previous slide I explained what do you mean by alphabet. Alphabet is an input symbol. That's the reason we are going to say that sigma, right? Yeah, alphabet is either A, see here, A, B, C, D, right? These are the alphabets. Right? In some cases we can use 0, 1, 2. We can use these things also for whenever we are going to use as sigma. Sigma equals 0, 1, 2, or sigma equals to 2, 3. Any finite set of symbols are going to known as the alphabets, right? Generally alphabet is going to recognized by this sigma. Next one is the string. String is a finite sequence of symbols taken from sigma. String is a finite set of sequence of symbols taken from sigma. Here how we are going to construct the string? By using the alphabet. We are going to construct the string. Right? Here, string is the finite sequence of symbols taken from sigma. For example, in this example, see here, sigma is ABCD. Right? Sigma is ABCD. Right? Sigma is ABCD. Now, here, what is my string? Here I am going to take the symbols from the sigma. Here string is the finite sequence of symbol. It should be end. String should be end. See here, my string will be AB. Right? Here these two symbols are going to take from sigma. Right? This is one string. Or else we can take ABC. This is also one string. Right? Or else ABCD. This is also one string. Or else we can take AAAA. Right? This is also one string. Right? See here, AAAA means here this A is present in this sigma. Na? A is present in the sigma. So here we are generating the strings from the sigma only. Here for example, if I am going to write A, B, C, X, is it the example of string? No. Why? Because here this X is not present in sigma. That's the reason this ABCX is not a string. ABC is not a string over the given alphabet. Or else here, see here, for example, A, B, B, 1, 2, 3. Is it the example of string over the sigma? No. Why? Because here we are defining one sigma. Sigma equals to ABCD. Whenever we are going to construct any string, we have to take the alphabets from the given set only. ABCD is there. Whenever we are going to construct any string, we have to use ABCD only. Right? AB1 in general, this is the string. AB123 is a string, example of string. But in my case, my sigma is ABCD. That's the reason whenever I am going to construct any string, I have to take the symbols from the given input sigma, that is ABCD. So I have to use this ABCD symbols only. That's the reason this AB123 is not the string. AB123 is not the string from the given alphabet. Right? Up to here, is it clear? Now, next one. Length of the string. Length of the string means it's the number of symbols present in the string. Number of symbols present in the string. Here, for example, now sigma is ABCD. Right? My sigma is ABCD. Now, my string is S equals to ABC. My string is ABC. See here, if you are going to performing the operation, what is the length of the given string? Length of the given string, if you are going to use in C language, what is the length of the given string? 4. Why? Because we have here every string is going to end with the null character. That's the reason we are going to say that this ABC length of the given string is 4. But in this case we are not going to take this symbol, null symbol, we are not going to take. Right? If my string is S equals to ABC, if my string is S equals to ABC, then length of the string is 3. Length of the string is 3 only. That's it. Here, what are the symbols which are present in that particular string is going to find, by using those symbols, we are going to find the length of the string. See here, in this example, here CAB, CAD is there. How many number of alphabets present here? C is 1, A 2, B 3, C 4, A 5, D 6. So what is the length of the string? Length of the string is 6. Length of the string is 6. Now string is going to represent by S. Then length of the string is going to represent by mod S. Length of the string is going to represented by mod S. Right? In general, here null string is there, empty string is there. Right? Here in automata theory, null string is going to represent by epsilon. Null string is going to represent by epsilon or delta. Generally, frequently we are using this epsilon symbol only. Frequently we are using epsilon symbol only. Epsilon symbol is going to represent the null string or empty string. Null string or empty string. Null string. Up to here clear? What do you mean by alphabet? What do you mean by string? How we are going to find the length of the string? While you are going to perform operations in DFA, you must know all these things. Next is key star. Here, what type of operations we can perform on this string? First one is the key star. See here. This key star is going to be represented by this sigma star. Key star is going to represent by sigma star. This is the unary operator. Unary operator on a set of symbols or strings. Here key star is a unary operator on a set of symbols or set of strings. Sigma. Here already sigma is the input symbol. Right? Sigma is the input symbol. Here how you are going to construct this string? By using the sigma only you are going to construct this string. Is it right? Here sigma is the input alphabets. Here by using the input alphabets only you are going to construct this string. Now here key star operation is going to perform on the given string. Key star operations are going to perform on the given string. Right? Here key star is going to represent by sigma star. that gives the infinite set of all possible strings of all possible lengths over sigma, including epsilon, including lambda or epsilon. Right? Here it is a subset. It is a subset. For example, see here. Here sigma is AB. Right? Sigma is AB. Here null string is epsilon. Null string is epsilon. Now sigma 1 means A comma B. Right? Sigma 2 is AA, AB, BB, BA. Right? See here, AB is different, BA is different. AB is different and BA is different. So here sigma 0 means here it is epsilon. Now sigma 1 means length of the string is 1, sigma 2 means length of the string is 2, sigma 3 means length of the string is 3, sigma 4 is length of the string is 4, sigma 5 is length of the string is 5. It is infinite here. This Keen star is the infinite set of all possible strings of all possible lengths. Here if I am going to use A comma B, by using this A comma B I can generate infinite length strings also. A B B B B B B. Right? Yeah, this is the infinite length string na A dash 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 B B B. This is the infinite length string. All those length strings are going to be present in Keen star. So Keen star is going to represent by this one, sigma 0 union sigma 1 union sigma 2 union sigma 3 union sigma 4 union sigma 5. All those things are going to be present here. See here, my input symbol is sigma equals to A comma B. My input symbol is sigma equals to A comma B. By using sigma star, alpha is there. Alpha is the input string, empty string. A B A B. Next is the B A B B A B A. Next is A B B. Next is B B B B. All those things are comes under in Keen star. This type of operations we can perform on string. Right? Next one, Keen closure. Here in Keen star, here we are including this empty string. Right? We are including this empty string. Right? Whereas in case of Keen closure, we are not going to include this one empty string. Here whenever we are going to perform Keen closure operation, here it should be all the strings must be having its length. For example, sigma is there. See here, sigma is there. Sigma equals to A comma B. Here now sigma length of the string must be 1 or AA2 or 3. Here see here A B A. What is the length of the string is 3. Or else A B B, length of the string is 4. We are not going to take the empty string in Keen closure. That's the reason it is going to use sigma plus. Right? Sigma plus is going to represent this one. Right? See here, Keen star is going to represent by sigma star, whereas Keen closure is going to represent by sigma plus. Right? Whereas sigma star means sigma star, it includes the empty string. Here sigma plus means it is not going to having empty string. It is not going to have empty string. See here, representation. Sigma plus equals to sigma 1 union sigma 2 union sigma 3 sigma 4 sigma 5. It is also having infinite number of infinite length strings. Right? Now here we can represent this sigma plus in terms of sigma star. We can represent the sigma star in terms of sigma. See here, sigma plus sigma star is equivalent of sigma plus equals to sigma star minus epsilon. Here why? Because in sigma star we are including the epsilon, whereas in this case in Keen closure we are not including the epsilon symbol. That's why we are putting the minus. That's why we are putting the minus symbol here. My input symbol is, see here, my input symbol is a comma b, right? My input symbol is a comma b. Now I am going to perform sigma plus a b, a b, b b, b a b b, or a b a. All the strings are going to be comes under key enclosure. Up to here, is it clear? Next, prefix and suffix of a string. Prefix and suffix of a string means, yeah, prefix string means the number of leading symbols of that particular string. Prefix means number of leading symbols of that particular string. For example, leading symbols, how we are going to write the prefix of a string means, for example, my string is ABC, right? My string is ABC. Now I am going to perform the prefix operation on my given string. I am going to perform the prefix operation on my given string. Here prefix operation means number of leading symbols. Here now I am going to start with the empty string. Empty string is going to represent by epsilon or lambda. Right, here I am using the epsilon symbol. Epsilon. Now here first, what is the first symbol? A. Right. What is the first symbol? A. Then followed by, what is the next symbol? AB. So AB. Then followed by ABC. So number of leading symbols. Number of leading symbols. Right? Is it the number of leading symbols? So for example, my string is XYZP. My string is XYZP. Now what is the prefix of my string? See here. First one is, we have to start with the epsilon, empty string. Next followed by X. Next, what is the next symbol? XY. Right. Next XYZ. Next XYZP. This is the prefix of my given string XYZP. Right, this is the prefix of my given string XYZP. For example, my string is 1 2 3. My string is 1 2 3. Now I am going to see, sorry, S string is going to represent by S na. S equals to 1 2 3. Now I am going to perform the prefix of my given string. So first is epsilon, next 1, next followed by 1 2, next followed by 1 2 3. Right, followed by 1 2 3. This is the prefix of a given string. So prefix of a given string means number of leading symbols of that particular string. Next is the suffix of a given string. Suffix of a given string is number of its trailing symbols of that particular string. Number of its trailing symbols. For example, see here, my string is ABC. My string is ABC. Now here, whenever we are going to perform prefix of a given string or suffix of a given string, we have to start from epsilon. We have to start from epsilon. So epsilon, what is my trailing symbols now? What is the first symbol from the end? C. Right. Next is B. So B C. Next is A B C. We have to start from the last symbol from that particular string. In the given string ABC, what is the last symbol? C is the last symbol. So we have to take first epsilon, then followed by C, then BC, then ABC. For example, my string is, see here, same XYZP. My string is XYZP. Now I want to write the suffix of the given string. So first of all, I have to start with the sigma, write empty string. Next followed by the last symbol P. Next symbol ZP. Next one is YZP. Next one is XYZP. This is the suffix of a given string. Right. One more example I will take. S equals to 1 2 3. This is my string. This is my string. Now I am going to write this suffix of a given string. First is sigma. Right. What is the last symbol? 3. Next one 2 3. Next one 1 2 3. Right. Up to here, is it clear? Prefix of a given string is number of leading symbols of that particular string. Suffix of a given string is number of trailing symbols of that particular string. Whenever we are going to perform prefix and suffix of a given string, we have to start from epsilon, empty string. We have to start from epsilon, that is empty string. Next one, language. Up to here you learn what do you mean by alphabet, what do you mean by string, what do you mean by key enclosure, what do you mean by clean closure, plus all the things you learn. Here now comes to language. Here in automata theory we are going to perform the operations on the languages only. Language means language is a subset of sigma star from for some alphabet sigma. It can be finite or infinite. Here in previous cases, string must be finite set of symbol. Whenever we are going to define any string, that particular string must be a finite number of symbols. That particular string must contains finite number of input symbols. Now I am going to defining the language. Language means here we are going to defining the language in terms of strings. Here strings means in terms of alphabet. A language is a subset of sigma star. So a language is a subset of sigma star. Here I am not going to say that here sigma plus. Here I am not going to writing the sigma plus. Why? Because here sigma plus means there will be no question of empty string. There will be no question of empty string. Here in sigma star means we can take the empty string. We can take this epsilon symbol. We can take this epsilon symbol. Language means here it consisting of subset of sigma star. That particular language should be empty, or that particular language is having some finite length of strings, and that particular, in some cases that particular language is having some infinite length of strings. Here language is a subset of sigma star. Subset of sigma star means sigma star is a subset of strings. So language is sometimes language is finite, in some cases language is infinite. See the example. If the language takes all possible strings of length 2 over sigma a comma b. Here I am defining one language. See here, I am defining one language. Here we are defining the language in terms of strings. Only. So if we are going to defining the strings, we have to take the alphabets. Sigma is a comma b. For example, my input symbols are a comma b. Now I am going to defining the language. That language, if the language takes all the possible length of the string is 2. So all the strings which contains length is 2 is going to include in that particular language. For example, see here a comma b is there. By using this a comma b, here we can generate the language epsilon a b a b, right? b a and a b infinite. So this is the language which is going to be generated by using this sigma. Right? Now in my example I am going to take this language where the string length is 2. Now my language is, what is my language now? a b b is it right? See here, length is 2, right? This is my language, defined language. Why? Because here we are having one constraint that here length of the string must be 2. For example, here length of the string is 3. Means in that particular case, here a b, right? a b and a b, right? Length of the string is 3. Now A, B, A, right? B, A, right? B, B, B. Here we are having all these strings are going to be comes under this length of the string 3 language, right? Language is subset of sigma star. In language we can have epsilon, null string also. Null string is also present in the given language. Up to here clear? Now here these are all the basic definitions. We are going to use in the automata theory. First one here, just I am going to recalling all those things. Here finite automata. In finite automata we are having 5 tuples: q sigma, delta, q naught and f. Q is the number of states, sigma is the number of inputs, q naught is the initial state, next is the delta is the transition function, f is the final state, f is the set of final state. Here initial state is indicated by the arrow mark, final state is going to be indicated by double circle. Final state is going to be indicated by the double circles. Some related terminology we are going to use in this automata theories. First one is the alphabet. Alphabet is a finite set of symbols. Generally alphabet is going to represent by sigma. Next one is the string. String is a finite sequence of symbols. String is a finite sequence of symbols. Next one, length of the string. Length of the string means number of symbols present in that particular string. Generally length of the string is going to represented by mod s, right? Next one, the keen star. Keen star is going to represent by epsilon, sigma star. In keen star we are having the empty string. Empty string is going to represent by lambda or epsilon, right? Next one is the key enclosure. In key enclosure we are not going to use the empty string. We have to omit that empty string in key enclosure. We can represent the key enclosure in terms of key star. Key star minus epsilon gives the key enclosure. Next one is the prefix and suffix of a string. Prefix string means number of leading symbols of that particular string. Suffix means number of trailing symbols of that particular string. Next one important topic is language. Language is a subset of sigma star for some alphabet. Here generally in languages we can have infinite length strings also be present in the languages, right? Up to here some related terminology we are going to use in this automata theory. In next class I am going to discuss about finite automata, how we are going to classify this finite automata, all those things I am going to discuss in the next class. Thank you.